What is up, guys? Well, we just got episode 3 of Dexter Resurrection, an episode titled Backseat Driver. And while I was very much pleasantly surprised by the first 2 episodes, this one continues that trend. Maybe is the best episode of the season so far. Really solidifies that we've got classic Dexter elements back. So 3 episodes out of 10. I mean, there's a lot of room for them to break my heart by the end of it, but so far, man, I'm a happy Dexter fan. So this one starts off with Dexter continuing to try to become a U-car driver. It's like this universe's version of Uber. And it's funny that he has no idea of the certain amenities that like the 5-star drivers are trying to provide. So he's got a guy that he's saying he's thirsty, doesn't have any water. He's asking for a charger, doesn't have a charger. So he probably gets a bunch of 1-star reviews, which creates this situation where he starts to get coached a little bit by the driver that initially befriended him, that gave him a place to stay and everything like that. I do like that character a lot, and I like his family, and I like the dynamic that it brings. It's still like, I wish they would have found a more natural way to get me to believe that this person would be so welcoming and friendly to Dexter without knowing him at all, especially given the context that there's literally a U-car killer out there that completely fits the description of Dexter. So nonetheless, again, there was a lot of conveniences in the first couple episodes that we had to just get past. Luckily, this one didn't pile onto that, but I do like the dynamic. It's a little bit of like the Father Sam from episode 6, Brother Sam, and bringing a little bit of that dynamic back into it, where you get this guy who's just absolutely free and giving and friendly to Dexter, and hopefully there's not going to be anything crazy bad that happens to this family because Dexter's living there. But yeah, I enjoyed that dynamic. I'm curious to see if there's any more like humorous stuff with him being the U-car driver, even though it's probably going to be snuffed out after this because it was just a means to get to the dark passenger guy. Dexter's still continuing to wonder whether or not he wants to engage with Harrison. I'm sure by the end of the season they will. That might be like a season finale thing, but he sees him go into a diner and he's by himself and he doesn't seem completely high in spirits, and they know that they've been investigating the hell out of him with this hotel. And he has like this argument with himself, or with Harry more specifically, that he should go and engage with him and be the father that he needs. And then he sees that this girl that he works with, I think her name was Elsa, is there for a date. And so he kind of, again, talks himself out of it. I hope they don't drag that out too much. Like I said, it makes sense that that's probably going to be like a season finale thing, but I hope we don't have to wait quite that long, especially if we're going to tease it so many times. That was one of the things that was annoying about New Blood, was that they kept almost having that conversation that they needed to have to resolve everything, and they just kept stretching it out until episode 9. So hopefully that doesn't happen, but another nice moment there. And then you get into the meat of the episode and the best part of it, obviously, which is him hunting down the dark passenger, where he, is tailing him a little bit, tries to figure out where he's going to be, and uses all those old Dexter tricks, gets a little bit of information from his friend's wife about the background checks, and convenient, sure, but he's always had conveniences like that, where he's able to just Google and get whatever he wants. But what I loved about this was the, no pun intended, the execution of the kill, where you have Dexter, he goes and gets like some acupuncture done, and that, I guess, gives him just enough strength in case he needs some physicality, whatever. Again, a little bit of convenience there, but he goes off, he sees his friend using like this this duct tape, this metal flashing to fix some wiring to keep some rodents, like some rats, away. And I was wondering in that moment, like, he's looking at him, and I'm like, what is he going to use that for? Like, he's got his wheels turning about something. And it shows him put on the turtleneck, and I'm like, okay, cool, we're going to take away the weapon there. There's a point where he breaks into the guy's house the same way that Uma Thurman did, and it was a really cool moment where it took me a little bit to recognize, but it was a cool moment when I realized, oh, that's the house that Uma Thurman was in the first episode. Now it makes sense. Now I get where we're going to go with this. She was probably leaving an invitation. Now Dexter's going to find it. That's going to get us to Peter Dinklage. Very cool. So I like how all that came together. But he sets everything up where he's going to go and be a U-car driver right around where this guy is going to get off of work. And he's got the turtleneck on. He's got the little M99 ready. Ends up fucking up and dropping it, which causes that little bit of tension right as the guy gets into his back seat. He wastes no time whatsoever before throwing his little weapon around Dexter's neck And I loved this moment where he's sitting there and he's pissed. He's like, God damn it, this is not what I wanted to happen. Fucking, I'm already a little bit rusty. And he asks him these questions, and Dexter's giving him like the obvious, like the truthful answer because he's not really scared. And then he's like, wait, what? And he's like, oh, okay, can't be honest with this guy. I'm so scared. And the acting in Michael C. Hall in that moment was great. I'm so glad we get those darkly humorous moments back because he's so good at it. And it was so missing in New Blood. And so I loved that. And the more that he keeps talking, the tighter that he keeps pulling it. Eventually, he's able to get the M99, overpower him really quick and get the little stab in there. And I was wondering the whole time, I was like, he's going at that turtleneck pretty good. I wonder why it's not tearing. And then he shows that he pulls the metal flashing out from underneath the turtleneck. And I was like, damn, that was smart. Hell yes. I love how they set that moment up. That was very cool. And then we get right back into classic Dexter kill room style where he throws the plastic up and he's like, oh my God, this feels great. Look at all the stuff you can just buy online now. And wraps the dude up like a fucking mummy. And then we finally get his motivation, which was interesting. He's puts his trophies up, which are these little driver's licenses. And he basically says that the dark passenger, he says that his father was a taxi driver, and with the rise of the ride share market, Ubers and things like that, that he lost his job and eventually jumped off a bridge or something like that because he couldn't feed his family. So an interesting motivation for a guy to be targeting U-car drivers. I was wondering if it was something that was more racially motivated. It felt like it was leaning that direction in episode 2. But turns out not. No, it was just, if you're driving a U-car or an Uber or whatever, then you need to die because you caused my father's death. So interesting enough there. But then he lets it out. He's like, are you the guy? I haven't spent any of the money, which gets Dexter's wheels turning. And so he puts the knife in, finds the invitation, and we're setting up where the main storyline of the rest of the season is going, which I'm very intrigued with. This is going to be the make or break thing this season, I think. It's either going to be something that's really cool, really unique and different, or it's going to highly jump the shark. But so far, they've earned my faith back, and so I'm going to give my faith to them that they're going to have something really cool in store here, and all of the celebrity guest stars and everything aren't going to be a little bit too much. So I really like that. Another great moment is when he's burning the body and he looks back over the invitation and it says thumbprint required. He's like, fuck. And he goes and he like digs out the arm and he's like blowing it off almost like pulling a piece of chicken off the grill or something. That was awesome. So we're setting up him obviously going to try to take the dark passenger's place. He's going to dress like him and go into this little secret society of killers as the fake dark passenger when he's actually the real dark passenger. And as I said with episode 2, I loved how petty he was about that name. I love the fact that it pissed him off so much that somebody else had that name that he was just going to go full bore to take that person out. As far as Harrison's storyline, I am getting a little tiny bit concerned that we're getting Harrison's storyline as well as Batista's, which I'll get into, maybe a little bit too piecemeal. Like there's a lot of different moving parts so far this season. We only have 10 episodes. So, Dexter's going to take over the meat of it as he should. I am just a little bit worried that Harrison's storyline is only going to advance a tiny, tiny bit each episode as well as Batista's, and maybe it'll feel like it's a little too drawn out. But that's just minor worries, and at the moment I'm not necessarily saying that I'm upset about that, but just looking ahead, still guarded, still a little bit cautious. Those are the two things that I think so far could potentially be an issue going forward. But you have further investigation where you have this detective character, which I can say as of right now, 3 episodes in, that's the one piece of this season that I hate so far. I didn't really understand it, didn't really dig it the first 2 episodes. Everything that they added in this third one, I don't like it at all. It really feels like they're trying to rip off Boondock Saints and doing it in like a really weird, like eccentric way where she's got to put on the headphones and listen to fucking funk music as she walks around and she's yelling at people with headphones on and can't hear them. It's just like, it's dumb humor to me. And I just don't understand, like, you're trying to sell me that this character is like a super detective where like she sees things that nobody else can see. Episode 1, what is it that she figures out? Oh, hey, these garbage bags all have the same knot. Let's go check these out. Does it really take like a super detective to figure that out? And then in this one, let's walk to the elevator and go down into the kitchen. Maybe this is where the killer came through. Like, again, you're not selling me that this person is the smartest person in the room. It just feels like we're laying on the cliches. So I don't like the detective character at all. But nonetheless, we have Harrison continuing to be investigated. They see the video feed of him in the elevator, and she starts to put together that this incident in the elevator where Harrison is helping the victim take this very drunk or drugged woman off of this elevator is the last time that anybody saw him alive. And so either he had an attack of conscience and decided not to go through with the assault and then was killed, or somebody came in to save this woman and killed the victim. And she thinks that it's Harrison. And what I really liked about this was that he behaved like Dexter, where he gave just enough information to maybe let him slip through the cracks, where he said that, hey, I was off that night afterwards, and I just, went out and had a little date with a girl, and then I slept over at her house. I don't remember what her name was. We didn't really exchange information. And they're fine with that while still having a little bit of a question mark on him until towards the end of the episode, where she comes in and she lays out exactly beat for beat, detail for detail what happened, which I don't completely buy, but nonetheless, she lays it all out to him, and he escapes Dexter style by saying, yeah, I have a confession to make, and they turn a little tape recorder on, and he says that he's been sleeping in the empty hotel rooms, that he's homeless, and so he didn't want to get fired, didn't want to get in trouble, so he made up the lie, and his friend, his girlfriend Elsa, is able to be an alibi for that. I do like the relationship with him and Elsa. I'm curious where that's going to go, including her son. I'm getting a lot of like Jesse Pinkman season 3, season 4 vibes out of this, where he had the girlfriend with the son that very much grounded him and kind of brought that humanity out of him. I'm getting a lot of those vibes from this little relationship here, and I'm curious where it's going to go. Continuing to really like Harrison as a character this time. I think he's just much more relatable. He's much more interesting. You sympathize with him so much more. You do want him to get away with this, whereas in New Blood, I'd have been like, fuck him, I hope he gets caught. So, yeah, only get a little bit of an advancement there, but seemingly they're off the scent of Harrison now. I'm sure they will get back onto it at some point, but as of right now, he's given them enough of an alibi that they're satisfied. They're moving on to other things. And the only other thing we could talk about here is Batista, which, yet again, I'm curious how much Batista we're going to get going forward. It feels like we only get like one scene of Batista in the last 2. So clearly, as I've said before, this entire Dexter Resurrection run, however many seasons this is going to be, is going to ultimately lead to Batista versus Dexter. So they don't want to rush that, and I think that's a very, very good choice. But I'm curious what they're going to do with him to keep that side compelling, aside from just cutting back to him every once in a while and reminding us, oh yeah, he's still suspicious of Dexter. But he gets a phone call from Teddy at one point saying that, hey, we got a ping on Dexter's truck. He's in New York City. And then the next time we see him, he's presumably at his restaurant that we saw in season 7, season 8. And you get Joey Quinn and Vince Masuka for a little cameo here, which was nice, where he's announcing yet again that he's retiring. That's like the 4th time. And he's given up the police force to go pursue this loose end. And they want to know what it is, and he won't tell them what it is yet. Now, I'm sure there are some people that assume that this means that Joey and Vince are going to join the hunt, and it's going to be those 3 versus Dexter. I guarantee you we're not going to see them again this season. I think eventually Joey Quinn and Vince Masuka, or at least Joey, will join this as he gets closer and closer to Dexter. Maybe season 2, but I don't think that we're going to see them again. I think Batista is going to be a Lone Ranger for a little while, but it was a really fun scene, them kind of referencing things in the past and him, talking about, has there ever been that one thing that just, you can't let go? And Joey Quinn references the Ukraine or the Russian stripper that he got in cahoots with in season 7. It fucked a lot of shit up for him. And let me tell you, it was so good to hear C.S. Lee do the laugh. Oh man, having him back doing that, it washed away all of my annoyance of that aggravating fucker from Original Sin. I could not stand how many times they did that laugh in Original Sin, but it was good to have him make the little OnlyFans joke and classic Vince Masuka. So that was a really, really good scene for fans of the original run. And again, while I don't think we're going to get it this season, I am really looking forward to the scene where Batista has enough to tell them in confidence, I think Dexter was always the Bay Harbor Butcher, and we're going to take him down, because Joey's got a lot that he can bring to that from his whole investigation in season 5. And Vince Masuka, I really want to know what his reaction is going to be, because he never suspected Dexter of any of that shit, and he hated Doak. So when you get a moment where he looks at Dexter like basically his partner, and oh my God, maybe it was him. Like, I really do want that scene. So whether we get that next season, season 3, or they'll shock me and do it this season, that's going to be a huge moment. But yeah, overall, really fun episode. I loved having the classic Dexter hunt back, having a lot of that dark humor back. Got a great cameo there. I'm enjoying what they're doing with Harrison, and I'm very, very intrigued with what's going to be going on with this little secret society of killers or whatever's going on. I do think I was correct in my assumption that it's something along the lines of, you have Peter Dinklage as like this rich elitist guy who just likes to buy the trophies. Like, he doesn't want to actually go kill anything, but he kind of just wants to commission it. Like, go kill them and then bring me the proof, and I'll keep this as just like some weird little memento. I think it's going to be something along those lines. And maybe the guy in episode 2 that she killed with the bat, maybe he was keeping some of his trophies. I don't know. But very, very intrigued so far with what's going to happen with that. So you guys let me know. What are your thoughts? Did you enjoy episode 3? Are you bought back in? Are you still very much guarded, or have you hated this season so far? Let me know all your thoughts down below, and let's talk Dexter Resurrection. Well, that's it for this one, guys. If you enjoyed that, click over here for all of my Dexter season reviews. I'm also going to put my video where I talked about episode 1 and 2 if you didn't see that, so that you can catch up on my thoughts on the season so far. Like, share, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss everything in the future. And as always, remember, opinions are like assholes, but that doesn't mean you have to be.